Good evening, Kenton community. My name is Sabatino Samato. I'm your superintendent, and this is your weekly connection update. High overview of the connection. This week, we spend a lot of time in my section talking about the changes to arrival and dismissal procedures. Then we move to making progress, and that's how we have done a very nice job. We've received some results on some state assessments, and I want to share that with you. Then we move on to our safety tips for families, focusing on emergency car kits. And at this time of the year, holy smokes, it is single digit temperatures today. Why it's so important that we focus on these emergency car kits. Then we move to our school and district highlights. We finish off with our recognition this week, and our recognition, one of our kiddos, Amelia McKinnon. We're going to talk about her in just a moment. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Like I said, in my section, we're going to focus on our changes to our arrival and dismissal procedures. Folks, we are focusing on Franklin Complex and Hoover Complex. Now, I want to be very honest with all of our community. I shared last week how we were devastated. We heard of that story in Jamestown where a little girl lost her life. Did that make me think a little bit more? Absolutely it did. But I'm not being reactionary. I am trying to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to get the best result for our arrival and dismissal. I want you to check out this section because next week, Franklin and Hoover are going to be sending out a lot of information to our families. We're going to have videos coming out. I'm going to focus on this at our board meeting. We're going to have detailed correspondence coming out. I really want all of our families to take special notice of it and really just understand, folks, if it doesn't work, we will try something else. I've been, at least tried to have been, very transparent with all of our families what we need to do. We need to continue to work on making these procedures as safe as possible. If we've tried things and they haven't worked, then we have to realize they haven't worked. If we tried things, it gets better, but it could still get even better, well, that's what we're kind of doing right now. For example, we added in a loop over at Hoover. It helped, but I feel like it can still be better. So I gave our staff, our principals, the directive that I want to separate those cars and buses completely. And that's what they've worked on planning with their faculty. They will get that information out next week. Please, let's give it a shot together. If it's horrible, if it has made things any worse, then we'll do an about face, just like we're doing right now in December. Don't mean to drive everybody nuts about this. I'm just trying to make sure that we have tried everything possible. So please help us work at this together. A really special thank you to all of our staff that have really worked overtime to get this done. And it's going to be a hard transition for all, but let's stay positive and see what our results can be. Then we get into making progress. And folks, we have some really great news from the New York State Education Department, and that's that we have overall really made some progress on our performance on these state assessments, so much so that I think we're going to get some great news later on this year about some of our schools making that adequate progress. But check out this section really talking about all of the work that our teachers, especially our teachers, but our staff, our administrators have done in collaboration with our families, and it's showing in those results. Really check that out and really, focus on what can we do to continue to improve. That's what my section is about this week, how we constantly have to look, even when we have some improvement, keep on moving to make it even better, both with travel, arrival and dismissal, and with these state assessments. Very proud of the progress, but I know that we can continue to do even better. Thank you to all of our families, our communities, for making that progress on state assessments. Safe tips for families, emergency car kits. Look at this section focuses on everything from making sure that your spare tire is inflated to making sure that you have warm clothing and blankets in the car. Folks, you never know what could happen. For those of us that have lived in the Buffalo region for our entire lives, we know storms, emergencies can come out of nowhere sometimes. So please just make sure, check out this section, focus on with your family, making sure to be ready for the unexpected. Then we get to our school and district highlights. Assemblyman Conrad hosts emergency preparedness training event. Kenmore East to host Polar Express Night. Holocaust survivor visits Kenmore West. Alchemy Lab returns to Kenmore West chemistry classes. Kenmore East concludes successful Goblin Up Hunger food drive. Kenmore West art students visit Birchfield Penny Art Center. Participation in government students unveil capstone projects. Hoover Elementary hosts special Thanksgiving events. Kenmore Junior Senior High hosts volleyball tournament. Hoover Middle collects nearly 2,500 food items through food drive. Kenmore East welcomes best-selling author Julie Berry. Balloon parades come to Hamilton and Franklin Elementary. And that brings us to our recognition this week. Our very own kiddo, Amelia McKinnon from Kenmore East High. She's in 11th grade, and she is just a great swimmer. And folks, she'll be the first to tell you, I bet, that all of the work that she puts in with her coaches, her families, her teams over the years have led her to this point. She got to that exceptional showing at the state championships on November 21st and 22nd, and she competed at the Section 6 Class A championships in early November and was section champion in both the 100-meter butterfly, 100-meter backstroke. Also qualified for the New York State Public High School Athletic Association championships. There, Amelia earned 6th place medal in the 100-meter free and the 11th overall in the 200-meter free, dropping her times in both events. All in all, Amelia is just doing great work, and she is our recognition this week. Great way to show, Amelia, even when you're doing great in something, continue to try and do even better, just like we focused on earlier on in the connection. And that brings us to the end of the connection this week. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be our last connection before the break. We do have 2 weeks left before the break, but some of our schedules will prevent me from doing a recording and having a connection going out. So I just want to focus on with our children finishing strongly these next 2 weeks. We have a lot of events going on throughout the district. I encourage all of our families to attend the night events that we have. Really take part in all of our community awareness, all of our community celebration. And remember, all in all, that's what makes us Kenton strong, Kenton proud, and helps us to move Kenton forward. Have a wonderful holiday season. I'll see everyone when we're back after the new year.